Welcome back to another video. We'll start with a joke. How do billboards talk? Sign language, of course, of course. So we've got a video today on real numbers and approximations, basically rounding. We'll also talk a little bit about inequalities and all that good stuff. Now, what's the difference between a rational and an irrational number? Because you will need to know the difference. Rational means it makes sense. Okay, if something's rational, it makes sense, or in other words, can be written as a fraction. Okay. Whereas irrational is, I guess it doesn't really make sense. And it can't be written as a fraction. Okay. Can't be written as a fraction. That's what that means. Okay, so if we start with this one here, let's start nice and simple. Which numbers are irrational? So 1 is actually rational. Square root of 1 is rational. Square root of 2 is irrational. Square root of 3 is irrational. Square root of 4 is positive and negative 2, so that's fine. But 5 is irrational. Root 6 is irrational. Root 7, root 8 is irrational. Root 9 is rational, makes sense because it's 3. Now, pi goes on forever, so that's irrational. Can't really be written as a fraction. 0.12 can be written as a fraction. This one here, 0.1212121212 is going to be rational because anything recurring can be written as a fraction. Whereas this one here, there's no repeats as far as I can see, so we're going to assume that is irrational. Okay. Now, if we're talking about approximations and rounding, I should hopefully have my calculator here. I'm going to talk about the different ways to round. So the first way is you've got decimal places. The second way you've got is significant figures. So if you put it into your calculator, the square root of 2 gives you something like 4 decimal places should be 1.4142. And I see the next number is 1, so I'm not going to round up to 43. I'm just going to keep it at 42, 4 decimal places. If I want 3 significant figures, I'm going to take the first 3 numbers that are significant. So 1.41, and that would be it to 3 significant figures. Okay, so I'm taking the first 3 numbers that are significant. And yeah, that's it. All right, intervals and the number line. Okay, a couple things here. So this is greater than or less than. And then these ones are greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. Okay, now in terms of how we would draw it on a number line is if it's greater than or less than, we kind of draw these open circles in these directions. Whereas if it's greater than or equal to, so it's got the extra little line underneath, we're going to color in the circle. I like to think of it as because it is included. So I'm going to include the coloring in or include the circle. Okay, I'll show you what that looks like. If I wanted to sketch these on a number line, if X had to be, in this case, it says X is less than 2. I'll draw my number line. I'd put 2 on there. I'd also maybe put another reference point like 0. And if X is less than 2, I'll put a circle on top of the 2 and show that the region that I'm talking about is to the left of the number 2. Okay, now if I've got one where X is in between 2 things, the way that I'd sketch this on a number line would be, okay, there's -1, there's 3. And again, reference point, I'm just going to put a 0. Now I can equal -1 because of this greater than or equal to, but I cannot equal the 3. So I'm going to keep the 3 open. And because X is in between, I'm just going to line these up here. And that there would be my number line. This one here, if X is less than 2 and X is greater than 0. So again, I'm going to draw my number line. The 2 points I have are -2 and I have 0. I'm showing here that x has to be less than 2. So that means it's kind of going to chuff off this way. But x has to be greater than or equal to 0. And because it can equal, I color in the circle and then point towards the right of it. So if there's 2 sections, there's kind of like 2 different expressions for it. Okay. Hopefully that makes a bit of sense. I think that's it. Have fun and see you later. Bye-bye.